But here's the thing. Very much like you and I today, Alex Monaco.
Talk to me.
We are coming off the bench and going into the starting spot. We are in a starting role, much like Shedeur Sanders is getting his best shot right now that he has had. News broke just a couple hours ago. Shedeur Sanders, not Kenny Pickett, not Joe Flacco, not Dylan Gabriel, not recently signed Tyler Huntley of Cleveland and Miami fame prior to this. Shedeur Sanders will be getting the start Friday night against the Carolina Panthers, and Dave Canales, head coach of the Carolina Panthers, has already said he's starting some of his guys on Friday. So we are going to see Shedeur Sanders against the starters for the Carolina Panthers in live action. Preseason, albeit, but it's the best football we got right now.
This is the best news out of Cleveland, potentially all month?
Well, it depends on who's asking. I think it's terrible news for Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel.
Well, I had tweeted 5'11" Dylan Gabriel is just killing me with the tape that I'm seeing. And I just feel like Shedeur's done, to me, outside of the Cleveland Browns walls, nothing but what you would want a leader to be. He's answering questions the right way. He's showing up early. He's leaving late. He's getting in extra reps. And I would toss it back to you, Martin. Is this a guy, if he didn't go on day 3 of the draft, that we would be expected to be in this Friday night slot, QB1?
I mean, there's a lot of people, even though he did go in the 5th round of the draft, that expected this. But the reality is, for me at least, this is how it works in the NFL. Like, Shedeur Sanders, I'm not going to say was always going to get this opportunity because that's not true. But guys, every single year win and lose jobs because somebody else got hurt. It's just the way of this game. In fact, just ask Drew Bledsoe. If he spins out of bounds instead of taking that shot from Mo Lewis, have we ever heard of Tom Brady?
Is there a better guy, offspring of the man, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, than Shedeur? Honestly, I'm rooting for him. It seems like a lot of the media is maybe going the Costanza opposite. I want nothing but this man to prove everyone wrong because really, as he's alluded to, Martin, this is what he did at multiple phases of his college career. It does seem like a red carpet was laid out for him. If you really go into the weeds, he continued to progress. So that's why he didn't waver based off the depth chart over the last few weeks. And here he is, and I think he's going to come in calm, cool, and collective, a lot like his personality. And I think he's going to impress Friday. What say you?
Well, it depends, because if you look at the reports, that have been coming out, some of them said he's a little. Albert Breer said he was kind of like behind schedule, seemingly like he was way behind. That's why he hadn't gotten reps with the ones. Then Mary Kay Cabot came out just most recently. She's also the one who initially broke the story that Shedeur Sanders was going to be getting this start. Mary Kay's been covering the Cleveland Browns since Moby Dick was a guppy. No, but she's been covering the Cleveland Browns for a very, very long time. And she was saying that, the stats in training camp are really reflective of how he's been playing. And we're not there. We're not there to see it. We're pulling all these clips from training camp and using them as referendums, and it's ultimately, it very much feels like summer league basketball, where if you like the guy going in, you'd be like, oh man, did you see such and such had 25? And if you did like a guy going in, oh, did you see he was 8 for 20? Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. Like, why isn't he dominating? But
I mean, if you're Stefanski, are you doing the same exact rollout on Friday? I know everyone's banged up, but let's say they weren't. Would this be Shedeur coming in?
I don't think so.
No shot.
I don't think so one bit.
My whole thing the whole time, Martin, has been this is the number one most accurate quarterback in FBS coming into the draft. Nothing but dogged and dragged with his name when all he did was go out and ball in Colorado. Turned around a program, oh, by the way. And the other guy we know that got drafted, I called him in the prep with Rob. It's the Van Wilder of college football. We already know what Dylan Gabriel was. He is a gunslinger, but to me, he's a little more of a college quarterback than he is an NFL quarterback. And what, Kenny Pickett's on his third club already, and Flacco's a cul-de-sac father of 3. I think the answer is easy for Friday night. It's just how we got to this conclusion was obviously very unique.
And so I think that's the one, and we'll talk about another thing that I think the NFL media is just flatly wrong about. We'll talk about that in just about 10 more minutes. But right now, this is one that I think the media is really wrong about in terms of the Shedeur view, because I agree with everything you said. I watched him in college. I thought he was going to be the first quarterback taken up until maybe 2 weeks before the draft, and it was like, no, Cam Ward's going number 1 for sure.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well, I think he's got a shot to go second round. You know what I'm saying? That's where I thought Shedeur was going. He got drafted in the 5th round. But none of that matters anymore.
Doesn't.
Your draft position is irrelevant. You're on the team, and now you have an opportunity to make the team. Because right now, a lot of the question is, will Shedeur Sanders make the roster? I think some of that is overblown, but it's a valid question to be had. Now, here's the rub. Would you have gotten this opportunity if everybody was healthy? No, but they're not. So you do. So now what? Now what are you going to do?
You do the only thing you know how to do, baby. You ball.
And if you go out there and you show essentially the world what you feel like you can do, then that makes this competition a lot more difficult to have conversations behind closed doors. If Shedeur goes out there and he's checking at the line, he's got his offensive line protections right, he's checking into the right plays, and then is accurate and on time and making the right decisions with the ball and all of that, right?
Right.
And he comes out there, and then you see, because here's the other thing about this, we aren't going to see, more than likely, Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, nor Joe Flacco in this preseason game. So there will be no highlights of those guys. What we will see is Shedeur. If he comes out and impresses, then it'll be, well, he's better than those guys, sight unseen, of what those other guys even look like.
No, it's a great point. What's interesting about the mechanics of the Browns is they have a great defense, and they've had, at least for years, a solid running game. This is Shedeur coming in and being a game manager and peppering in my humble opinion, a little bit of his improvised skills, because he does have them, his ability to extend plays. He does have the athleticism. Is there anything in particular he could do Friday night to move up the depth chart?
I think what he does Friday night to move up the depth chart, if he does, besides the number one thing, staying healthy.
Sure.
I think the more he shows a mastery of the offense, from what I'm reading and hearing from Browns camp, it is something, it's like the pre-snap checks. It's like making sure that they're in the right look versus this defensive look versus that defensive look versus 2 high shell versus 1 high. Are you seeing that their pre-snap, they look 1 high and they rotate actually to cover 6 or cover 4 or whatever? Right? Like, are you seeing what the defense is doing and then as a result getting the offense in the right position? That's what's going to impress me more than, if Shedeur steps out of 3 sacks and throws a touchdown.
Yeah. Because
that's not consistent, and that's not probably going to be happening when Myles Garrett won't be chasing him, but when, TJ Watt is chasing him around the edge.
It's interesting because he does come under center with a team that's had virtually no leadership for how many years? And how many times have they fumbled the quarterback position? So to me, I think Shedeur, yes, can he do the quarterback intangibles to impress? Sure. I'd actually like him to see, I'd like to see a little bit of leadership that's maybe not in the game plan. That's something that I feel is what he does naturally. I genuinely believe, what say you, that he is a natural-born leader, and that's why I loved the fit in Cleveland. Dillon Gabriel, as a leader of men, doesn't jump off the board. Pickett is a certified backup in this league, or he wouldn't have been already moved around. And Flacco's on hole 18.
The only guy, in my opinion, who has the capability to be the franchise quarterback for Cleveland for any extended period of time is Shedeur.
I love it. I'm in lockstep with you.
Now, do I think it'll happen? That's a different question. But of the guys listed on this, we've ran through them a few times now. Shedeur's the only one that has a shot. I'd say it's maybe 20% shot. But I'll say this. This is his first best shot to put out the best possible impression. This is his first best shot. Okay, look. You are in the ring around the, what is that game? Oh my goodness.
Ring around the rosy?
No, musical chairs.
Musical chairs.
You're in a game of musical chairs. There's 3 chairs and there's 4 quarterbacks, right? That's the game in Cleveland,
yeah.
Right? We're asking, is Shedeur Sanders going to get cut? You know what would solve a lot of problems? If Shedeur Sanders goes out there and plays really well. And then, because you know what? We saw 60-some-odd quarterbacks start games last year.
That's a
Matthew Stafford is week to week with the back injury. Rams got 2 first-round picks next year. I don't think they trade a first-round pick for Shedeur Sanders, but maybe there's some level, like Shedeur goes out there, plays well in week 1 of the preseason. Hey, Cleveland, I can solve your quarterback problem for you. I'll trade you Shedeur Sanders for a 4th rounder.
Well, let me ask you, because if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, let's just sit in that world for a second. You let everyone down with the Watson signing without hesitation, and you really haven't solved the quarterback puzzle post-Mayfield, if we're calling it what it is. I already laid out what the other 3 are. We don't know what Shedeur is yet. Wouldn't you think it'd be advantageous, management, owners, even Stefanski, in lockstep to give the fans this look? I just think they owe it to the Cleveland fans to give a potential real look at what could be a franchise quarterback.
Well, whether it's owed or not is what they're going to get. So, what they're going to get on Friday.